Okay, if you are not aware of it, I'll tell you what this is. Okay, so web development is basically is nothing but which will be helping you to develop, okay, a website and a web pages. We're going to develop a web page and a website is what is web development. We see Google, we see Facebook, we see Instagram, right? We see Twitter. These are the different types of applications which we are using in the day-to-day life. And if you go to Google and you search for Facebook, you get an application. You get a website. So why are we creating a website? Why are we creating a web pages? So basically to interact, to start launching your products. If you're just working on the business levels, if you're just like a start, like you are just a beginner who's trying to learn what is web development. Okay. We're going to see all those things. If I just open a google.com, about Google, we will see. So yeah, this is about page of Google. This is an about page of Google. So it has all the related things. And it's also like in the Google page, anything, if you take Amazon website, everybody create their own website and a web pages. Why? To store the information and to launch the products so that all of them use their products available on their website. So what is the product which is Google is using? If you see, to view all our commitments, and then you have, just look here. Okay, view all our products. So it has search, that is Google. It has a email. It has the browser, right? There are many Google Meets are there. There are multiple different, here it is, the workspace for the Google link where we can just connect and then work out. And then you have a Google Classroom. Why am I telling this is because, so web development, as I told, is it's a structure of everything. Okay, it's a structure of everything in the sense we have a front end and we have a back end. Front end is basically your browser, where exactly you see your data. Okay, the front end is like in the google.com. If I see, this is the data which I'm trying to see it in my naked eyes. The back end, if I tell, which is would be working on the back end, where we will not be able to see it unless you technically involve into it. Technically means like you work on the back end, then only you'll be able to find out the things how it is working. So let us not go and understand in a complicated way. We'll understand it in a very easier way. So as I was telling, the front end. Okay, imagine this is something like a front end, and this is something like a back end, which is running on the back end. The back end, if I tell, a server, it's a server. And this would be your client. What is client and the server? Client is nothing but your web browser, where you send a request. See, I need a latest news. If I just in a Google, I search for web development course, top 10 web development courses. If I just give, it's a client purpose. You able to send a request. You're using one medium as a front end medium, the browser, and you're trying to send a request to the server, right? Server is basically where all of your data would be stored, where all of your data are being stored. Like for example, database, I'm going to give it. So the top 10, the browser, what I'm doing, the top 10 web development course, if I give, what is happening? The server would be sending the response based on to it. Based, I'll also start. Okay. So what are we doing is we are trying to send a request. We are trying to send a request from the browser to the server. So the server, it would be verifying the request, whatever you are saying. Google, you're saying, okay, Google data is stored in the server. Yes, it is stored. Then it would be sending the response back to the browser. Now, in terms of a website, if you want to build a website in the front end, we use different types of languages to for the front end purpose to the back end purpose, right? If you're trying to build this, for example, this is a website you think, or let me give you a simple example. If you want to construct a home, imagine this is your home. If you want to construct this home, first and foremost, you need to plan, you need to purchase, or you need to you need to have your land, and then you start planning how your building should look like, and then you start the structure, right? The structure is very important, where exactly you can build your home. The structure, how can you build your home? That is your HTML part. HTML is the structure of your web page. HTML is the language. Okay, HTML stands for, any idea what is HTML, the full form of HTML? You can use the chat box if you want to communicate to me. If you are not aware of it, no problem. I'll just tell you what is HTML. Yeah. HTML is a simple language which has been made up of elements. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. There are different types of language you would have recalled it. Like there might be a programming language, there is a scripting language, there is a markup language. So the HTML which I'm telling is a markup language which deals with the elements. So why is an HTML elements are being used is because to structure your home, to start planning and start building your home. So now you have done with the construction. Okay, you have built your home. So keeping cement, everything like for the bricks, everything, you have just constructed your home. Now, after that, what is your plan? You want to paint it? Your web page. What is the content I'm talking about? Some black and white content. Yeah, some black and white content you have written. Introduction to HTML, something you have written. How are you going to make it beautiful? How are you making it to look better? How are you making it to be appear in a better way? So we are going to apply the CSS property. So there is a new term called CSS property. CSS is nothing but cascading style sheet, which is used to decorate your web page. So till here we have learned something like HTML and CSS, right? So let us start implementing those concepts in a practical version. Okay. So the house has been built. Now we can also decorate this house by painting it, by decorating, adding some furnitures to it. So many things we can do it, right? So in terms of a website, the very most important thing is you need to have an editor. Like you need to have an application where we can write all my codes and execute it. So the editor which we can use is there are different editors which has been used. So one of them, I'll just quickly show you the VS Code. Okay, you can use the VS Code. So I'll just create a new file. Webinar, I'm going to create webinar.html. So shift +1 enter, I'll just give so this would be your structure. Like what is the structure? How are you going to build your home? The planning, everything you will be doing in the HTML page. Like what is the content you want to add? Where exactly you want to add? What type of information you want to put in your web page? Those concepts you're going to do it inside your HTML page, right? So I'll be using some division tag to do that, aligning the data in the center. And then inside this, like for example, I'll just write some content in it. Webinar. Welcome to webinar. Okay, so let me just choose it. So this is my web page. this is my web page, and this is how my web page look like. Welcome to webinar is the content you're trying to add. This is normal plain text. This is a normal plain text. If you want to decorate them, I'll be applying a CSS property to make it much more beautified. So what I'll do, I'll apply a CSS property to it, right? CSS is cascading style sheet. Cascading style sheet. Why are we using CSS? We already know, to beautify, to decorate a web page in a more advanced way, or to make, in simple way, to design a web page, we use CSS property. There are different types of selectors are being used: inline CSS, internal CSS, external CSS. So I'm going to use an internal CSS. So I'll be using a style tag. Inside the style tag, I'll just use a H1 tag, and then I'll try decorating it with the help of a colors. Let me just give a color to it. A white color, let me give. Let me also give some background image followed with the linear gradient. So I'm going to have multiple different colors. See, multiple different colors I'm going to give. These colors are good to go. Hello. See here, isn't it nice now? Normally my web page was looking, how was my web page looking? Normal plain text, white and black and white background, right? This is how my data was looking. Now it's still more attractive. It's very looking good. My contents are looking good. Like if you want to add some box shadows, I'll be adding a box shadow. Okay, so this is how I'll be applying the shadows. If you want to give a shadow to your content also, I'll be using a text shadow. Yes, this colors also I'll make it lighter. Yeah, now it is looking perfectly fine. If you want to change the color of it, yes, I can just drag and drop it and change the color accordingly if you want to give it, right? Like font size, let me also increase the font size, 30 pixels, 35 pixels. Font family. See, how is the thing? How are we doing? How are we decorating a page? Very nicely. So font family also, I'll just apply it. And then I'll just use a fantasy. So the color, let me just give it as in white in color. This is also fine. Border style, I'll just apply. Border color also is good. Isn't it good? Now, the normal text which we were adding, just welcome to my webinar, and the text which we are currently looking at, it's look very nice compared to the previous one. And similarly, if you want to add some background colors, everything you can update it, or just CSS property is just like how are we going to design a web page. There are different types of properties are being used, various different properties, like around like many, you just can't number it. Okay, you have multiple different properties out there. And if you're just one example, I'll just show you like how to add the background colors. Like if you want to add a background image, some images from the pixels, I'll just drag one of the images and I'm going to use them. So pixels.com. So I'll just pick up this image. Just okay, this is the image I wanted to add it on my web page. I'll just copy the image address and for the body tag, just apply the stylings. See, isn't it good? If you want to just give a background, let me also open it in the web page. So right click and then open with live server. See, this is how my image will look like. Isn't it good and nice, right? So this is how we are going to do the stylings with the help of the CSS properties. Now coming to the JavaScript, which is very important. Okay. So CSS property would be helping like home construction, the simple task only I'm telling. Home constructing is done, decoration is done. Now you want other like appliances to be working, like electricity to work, or if you just any electric products or something like that. Like if you turn on the switch, it should turn on, the light should turn on, the fan should turn on. So how is that? There is some operation which has been working. There isn't some electricity working, right? The same way now coming in terms of the technically in terms of a website and a web pages. So you feel like there might be some buttons, or you feel like, see, coming the same thing, the Google only I'll just discuss. So whenever I click on this Google Classroom, it takes me to the page. Okay. It's take me to a page where I can sign in and get used to it. I can use that, right? I can use this product. So how is this being done? So as a user, it takes the input from the user. It's sign in option. What happens in the sign in? It takes my input, enter your email ID, enter your password, enter your phone numbers. These are the inputs which has been provided by the user. User are not, you and I are the user, right? So for Google, you and I are the users. So to collecting the user information, not only the collecting user information based on the registration, what is the output you're getting it? The output here is you will be able to get access to the Google Classroom, right? So how is this working? How are you making the user interactive? Whenever I click on some button, I should be able to see the change in the element happening, the change in the color happening. How can I do that? So with the help of JavaScript, I can easily make it out. So here HTMLs come in the browser part, then CSS. Okay. So everything you can see it in your web page. This concept, everything you can just see it and you can work along. There is no server required for it. And then you can also use the JavaScript to work as a local background, local background in the sense like locally you're trying to connect a server with the help of Node.js. We have API concept, right? So those concepts you can implement using the Node.js. Now coming to the server side, what can be implemented in this server side? We can use Express module. Then you can use Node.js as a backend, Node.js. React would be used in the browser end, okay, not on the server end. And then we can use it SQL, structured query language as a server end. So what happens if you want the HTML and CSS? Normally you printed something. And if you want to perform different mathematical operations, so for example, I'll show you about how a JavaScript will be playing a major role. So before I move on to the major role, now just a quick quiz, let me give it to you. So what is the role of HTML, everyone? Correct. Ma'am, in web development, what are the coding language will be used? So in web development, the coding language which we are going to use it will be using a markup language. Markup and scripting language. We can also implement additionally, we can also use a programming language as a Python. Optional. These are optionals. So if you know the markup language and if you know the JavaScript scripting language, you can create your own web development. So web development in the sense the web page or the website, you can just build it without any programming needed. Okay, it just required a simple concept, simple understanding. If you're using a WordPress, if you're using an AR concept, everything, yes, with the basic understanding of this and the idea, the creativity, if you have, you can just crack this out. Understood? How it is simple and easy. Yes, I asked something to you all. Just if you are observing properly, you can let me know like what is the role of HTML. Just a small quiz so that I can have the understanding that everybody on the track. Correct. Very good. Yes, the foundation of the web development, the structure of the to build your web page and website, we need a HTML, CSS to design your web page. Now coming to a JavaScript concept, how are we going to implement this JavaScript? So same thing, we had an output, something like this. This welcome to my page. Let me make it a circle or let me make it as a square. So I'll just apply a welcome to webinar. So I'll just apply a width of 500 pixels. Fine. Then height of 500 pixels. Too much. So I'll just reduce the height of it 300 pixels. Okay, good to go. Let me just create this as a button. Instead of this, I'll just create a button. Okay. Okay. So each time when I update this button, okay, let me just put this B. Let me apply the content. So I'll just apply the font size. Good. Now I'm going to use a JavaScript. I'm going to use a JavaScript. So JavaScript is a scripting language. It is a scripting language. So it's very easy and simple, where we will be learning about how to create a functions, how can we develop our own local servers. Those concepts we are going to look into it. One more thing is, yeah, I'll be using a scripting language. JavaScript is the scripting language, where what is the role of JavaScript is where you will be able to work on applying a mathematical operations. You'll be working on the modules. You'll be working on creating a functions. See, for example, like only you have created a website, and you want to connect to the server, like a database, like 100 users have enrolled to your website using a website that just registered locally. You want to connect to your database. You want to know the list of data which is being stored, like with the list of users who have enrolled to your website. So if you want to create a database are nothing but where a data can be stored. Like we have Gmail. In the Gmail account, we used to, before you want to get access to it, how are we going to do it? By providing our credentials, by putting our email ID, by giving a password. And where is the credentials are getting stored? They're being stored in the database of Google's database. Google have its own database where all Google users information will be stored into it, right? So same way here, if you want to locally create a server, you can use this JavaScript. And if you want to work on the condition, only two people or two users should be enabling this program, not more than in per day, or like there might be some condition, only 10 lines of 10, what is that? 10 letters should be entered, not more than that. Or if you want to make a condition in that scenario, we need to work on the if else condition by creating a function. Now we are going to look into the JavaScript, where I already have the program. I'll just tell you in short way. Okay. So a function, we know function is nothing but a specific data would be performed. Whenever we call a function, a specific data will be performed. What is a specific data? I'm just applying a mathematical law operations. It's a random generation of data. Like if I want this, whenever I click on this button, welcome to my webinar, I should be able to see the change in the color happening randomly. I should be able to see the change in the color happening randomly. So how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? So here, instead of a background image, instead of this, let me just give one background color, a simple and a good background color, so that you'll be able to see the change in the color happening nicely. This is the color I'm trying to change. Fine. So now each time whenever I click on this, currently when I click on the button, I'm not able to see any change in the color happening. So what should I do? There are different types of functions being used. So the events I'll be using, like on click is the event which is used in the DOM. Okay, it's based on the JavaScript only. On click, and then what is the function we have created? BG is the function which I have created. I'll just open and close it. Now let me just click on it. Okay, it's not dot B, it's going to be A1 and 0 is not that. Just an A. Mhm. it's #8. Now mostly we'll be getting the output. See here, whenever I change the color of it, just by clicking on it, I'm able to see the change in the color happening. So each time whenever I click on the button, I'm able to see the change in the color happening. It can be the background also, if you want to just apply to the background. So that's just very simple. Just I'll give a body and let us see. So whenever I click on this button, I'll be able to see the change in the background color. So how is this working? How is this happening? It's with the help of the JavaScript. With the help of JavaScript. So we'll also quickly look into the e-commerce website. How can we interrelate? How are we going to use HTML, CSS only with JavaScript? These three different concepts you will be able to complete. You will be able to work on or create a good and a best website. So one of the website which I want to show you all is this e-commerce website. So here, if you see, this is one of the websites. Just with the help of what? Just with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you will be able to do such a good website. So you have seen an Amazon, you have seen a Flipkart, which is a shopping website. So you can also just create any website, and you can also develop your own website by yourself just by using these three different language. It's like two different language. The CSS is not a language; it's a styling properties. Okay, where here if you look into it, so how is this being done? First is we have a HTML page, right? HTML page is the contents which you're trying to add it in your web page. For example, latest fashion is there, right? Latest fashion sale or trending item. So I'll just try changing that values to something else with the help of HTML. Trending item, trending sales as well cited. Sales. Now let's do looking back here. It's updated to trending sales. How is this? Like whatever the contents you want to add it in your web page, that would be done with the help of HTML. Now coming to the CSS properties. Okay. Here also, like for example, just on right click and inspect. You can select on any of the element and you will be knowing what is the property we need to add it. Okay. So there is a property into your latest sale is there, right? I want to change the different color to it. So for latest sale, what is the property is used here? Banner title. Okay. So here I'll just right click. Color. What was the color it was given for you normally? Here also I have a banner title. Here is the image, the background image. I'm just looking into the pub page. Okay. So yeah, now coming to the JavaScript also, here we will be doing the stylings to the web page. Okay. Using the CSS, we'll be updating the stylings to the web page and using the script tags. So whenever I click on something, if I click on categories, it will be taking me to a category page. If I click on men's, it will be taking to the men's page. Or if I just enroll to anything, if I want to purchase anything, what do we do? We click on add to cart. So when we click on add to cart and you need to pay it, right? So view the cart and then you move ahead and you start paying to it. It just directly, it will be navigating you to the, so it asks you UPI, credit card, debit cards. It asks you, right? What is the, like in which, how you want to just pay the, like, is it going to be cash on delivery? It has different types of options being available. So how is this being done? With the help of JavaScript. So I hope everybody got an idea about the web development, how exactly it is going to work. And if you have any doubts, please let me know in the chat box. Can I get an update from you all? Just the message over the chat box. Everybody got an idea how to work on it? Just not deep dive, just at least the basic structure, how exactly it works.